A sea of change is upon us. So many things have been going on right now today that a lot of people are unprepared for. And I'm going to break that down right here today. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. In today's video, we are going to look at demographics. We are going to get a good understanding of these different groups. You've got Gen Z, you've got millennials, and you look at the baby boomers, and there are so many differences right now, and we're trying to all work within these systems, which are rapidly changing. Rapidly. Can we stay on top of it? Let's look here. First thing I wanted to show you is we are highly dependent on the financial system. Are they going to cut interest rates? Are they not going to cut interest rates? Right here, we are looking at just a few months ago. We were talking about, in fact, basically just a month ago, we were talking about 7 rate cuts coming, 100% chance, 7 rate cuts in 2024. Now we are looking at just a few. So my goodness, what a month can do. And when I look at this, I start to analyze what's going on. Well, there's euphoria in the markets. The markets have changed just in this last little while, where no longer do we need to have good, strong, healthy companies. We simply need the word artificial intelligence or AI attached to that company in order for it to perform well. In this case here, it's funny, the diet, so that GLP-1, what they're talking about there is these weight loss drugs, okay, Ozempic, and those sort of things. Okay, so the companies that are in some way going to benefit from these weight loss drugs, as opposed to those who are not exposed to them, it's funny to see the performance difference. So obviously you've got these companies, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk or whatever, they have a potential to do extremely well because so many people are using these pharmaceutical drugs to lose weight. And it has become such a trend right now. And it's unbelievable to see that. And of course, this has a definite effect on the stocks associated and those indirect. So if you're like selling Dunkin' Donuts, for instance, they got punished as a result of it because they're saying, hey, people are not going to go for the donut now. They're going to go for the, kale salad or whatever. This is a whole thing from Fidelity talking about teens, and the survey that they were talking about here asks several questions. Money is the number one word teens think of when they think of investing. As they say, 46% think investing is only for people with extra money. So what I would tell people right now is that if you have children, even if you don't, but anytime you can interact with a younger person, they don't see it as a priority, but I can assure you that to some degree, we should be making investing a priority. That does not mean in cash, just our money. We must be investing in basic skills, just basic skills, nothing crazy, okay? We should have a basic understanding of how things operate. Where does the food come? Like, where does it come from? I don't know. I wake up in the morning and hey, the food's there. We need to have an understanding of how our food system works. Oh, I could plant a seed in the ground, I could water it, and then, hey, food comes up. Just going through these things should make a big difference in people's lives later down the road. You don't have to be a farmer. You don't have to be a professional at anything, but just having an understanding suddenly gives you a different perspective of how things work. That lays into, of course, how we invest and how we change our lives later down the road. Here is your favorite. I know it's your favorite, Tay. But what they're talking about here is Gen Z are treating employers like bad dates. 93% ghost interviews, meaning they don't show up. I had to learn that term. And 87% have not even shown up for their first day of work. So they get hired and they're just like, yeah, I'm not interested. Okay. And it depends on the job. I don't know. I can't just, I mean, that is, look, 93% just don't show up for the interview. 87% don't even go, they get hired and they're not even coming. They're saying for a lot of them, working the 9 to 5 is not something that they are interested in. They want freedom. They want to be able to be mobile. The new generation of people have very different priorities and expectations than the generations prior. This is very clear. And so as an investor, we have to keep that in mind. Now, sure, if there is a massive depression that essentially forces things to change, okay, that's a different story. But even if there's a mild recession, it doesn't have enough impact to change this trajectory. So keeping that in mind, how does this affect the way that people consume information, streaming services, all of the different things that are tied in with this, where we have the quick fix mentality of young people today, and everybody too, that have no attention span. All these things play into this. And so we got to remember, if a company is offering a shortcut, taking a needle to lose weight or whatever the case is, those companies can do very well because this is what people want today. They're expecting it. You know, there used to be a time when we had to watch commercials on television and we waited through those commercials to get to our show that was waiting on the other side of that. You know, there were other stations, but you didn't have a billion to choose from and you couldn't just scroll on. It didn't work like that. Now today, things are very different, right? So keep that in mind as an investor. Google lays off thousands more employees despite record profits 1 year after laying off 12,000 employees as workers begin worrying AI is slowly replacing them. So AI certainly is a big part of everything today. There's no question, but there's a lot of hype around it. I'm just showing you here in the case of Google, in the case of Meta, they are laying off a lot of people. What Zuckerberg was saying was basically that they want to be lean and they want to have a lot less middle management. Let's just flatten it out a bit. And the way that this works is they say, hey, manager, would you like to do the job that you used to do 5 years ago that you worked your way up to become a manager? No, I don't want to be a manager. Oh, how about this? You can take that job you used to have a few years ago and work at the desk like everybody else instead of being in his office, or we can lay you off. So of course they take their pick and they go ahead with it. So that's happening today to a great degree. Things are changing, okay? I think the jobs market could very well be changing and demographics are too. Silver tsunami. Record number of Americans set to turn 65 this year. And that changes a lot of things. As an investor, you want to have some exposure to, you know, what this entails. In the book Money Master the Game, Tony Robbins talks about REITs, real estate investment trusts, specifically those who have exposure to retirement homes. Okay. And that's going to be a bigger thing. There are a lot of these pharmaceuticals, depending on where you sit morally on this, but there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies that are going to do very well because they're going to offer pills and other, you know, they would call it therapies, that would potentially, as they say, benefit those. So those are the things that you want to be exposed to. And then, of course, we have fertility rates that are dropping, the number of children per female. This is worrisome, and for obvious reasons, because the replacement rate is so low. And there's different reasons why this is bad, but one of those being like the debt. So you've got all this debt, Social Security, all these things that you've got a Ponzi scheme set up into. You need more people to be paying into that Ponzi. And of course, we know in the end, that is not going to happen. There's some serious problems. So this is the kind of thing I get into in depth, extreme depth, 2 hours every single Friday night. And, for a lot of people, they just don't realize how informative this is. And those who do join always say that they have found it to be just something that really enlightened them as part of this, because you just can't find that. You just don't sit down for 2 hours explaining things from a 30,000-foot view all the way down into the finest details at chart analysis. Like that doesn't exist. Okay, so I hope you'll join me on there. And even if you are not somebody who can make it live, because it's at 9 p.m. on Fridays, you can get the recordings. Okay, I would hope that you join live, but you will get the recordings. So I would definitely appreciate it. Check it out, themoneygps.com/live. I want to see you there. And of course, hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.